Hey, this is Paul Dutton with Emergency Preparedness Network. I got a great guest here today, a good friend of mine, Matt Duggar, right, who's been with the Red Cross for only 36 years. Geez, Matt, incredible stories. But really wanted to get to one of our stories today about the Eaton fire shelters. Matt, tell me a little bit about what happened that night.
Well, as it is alleged, I will say alleged, that one of the dead towers and with cables on it somehow had hot lines in it, started a fire up above the area, and it swept down the hill very rapidly. There were winds. Of course, we all know the winds there were just phenomenal that whole week, and that fed the fire, and the fire there had not been any burning up there for a while, so you had plenty of vegetation and dried out, and it just smoked the whole area. And Altadena, bless the hearts of those people who live there, most of them got out, not all, unfortunately. Yeah. And some were warned ahead of time, and others it was like, honey, the fire's calling in the backyard, you open the door and go, oops.
With 65 mile an hour sustained winds and compressed winds of 100 miles an hour.
Yeah.
I would imagine, so what was it like at the shelters when people are coming in? I'm pretty sure you were there opening up those shelters on that night.
Well, they got them open before I was assigned, and right. I was assigned later. But the big shelter at Pasadena Civic Center had basically 6 shelters in one. It was all the one building. Wow. With the various big exhibit rooms we turned into each individual shelter. There was one for families, one for men only. I think there was one for women only, and there were another one for families without children. And then there was one for people who were showing signs of illness like flu or COVID, and or any other illness that they may have. And that was around the corner, and we had nurses staffing that one pretty much, and they're keeping an eye on people. We did have to transport a couple out who suddenly got violently ill, and we had to move them out, and we called paramedics and had them pick them up. We had the police department and the fire department were very involved in what we were doing there.
Sure.
But there were these separate shelters within a shelter, and there was a feeding. The chef, I understand, at the Pasadena Civic Center stayed on, and so he would prepare meals, and there were 3 meals a day plus snacks if you needed something, a little nosh.
Yeah.
And they took care of that. And we had down one of the long hallways, we had people like Kaiser Permanente and AltMed and other places that had set up that had things to go. And they were just like they put out protein drinks there. There was one place that was supplying reading glasses to those of us who lost them. Yeah. Mine just flat out not got sat on by somebody, so they gave me another pair of reading glasses, and they took care of people. If you needed hearing aids, they had some cross-the-counter hearing aids. They took care of everyone because some of the people prepped and had stuff. There was one lady in the shelter I was a shelter supervisor for who had gotten away with a lot of the stuff out of her apartment. Right. and had come to the shelter, and she was in a corner of the shelter there, and she was going out every day trying to find a place to live, and the Red Cross was working with her. And then there were other people who came in who had nothing but the clothes on their back, and for that, Red Cross tries to supply clothing. People do donate clothing, but mostly we have a way to get fresh bought clothing, and of course, bless the people of the area who just formed that huge giveaway place at the racetrack, Santa Anita racetrack. They were giving out, they had cases upon cases of water, of clothing, shoes, some brand new shoes and new jeans and stuff like this for people. And you just came in and they knew where you were from, and they just said, what can we help you get? They were awesome.
Excellent.
But the shelter was something that we took care of, and we took care of the people in there. And the shelter's not a long-term living arrangement. It's a week, 2 weeks, right. And you should be moving out. And we try to do that. We had counselors there along in one whole section that did nothing but you stop by, and they would help you get the paperwork filled out and get you started on a road to a new place to live, and clothing and whatever it was you needed.
So wow, that's just really huge, Matt, because a lot of people don't realize not only are they taking care of all their needs at the shelter for that week or 2 weeks or 3 weeks, but then they're also helping them get into temporary housing.
Temporary housing, exactly.
And moving them forward in their process of grieving and moving forward and helping them rebuild their lives.
And even when I was leaving,
Red Cross for that.
Yeah, and Red Cross does that. And everything Red Cross gives is a gift.
Yeah.
We don't charge anything. We don't expect anything back in return. If you get back on your feet, you want to make a donation, there are ways to do that. But everything we give is a gift. And so don't expect if you lost everything, including all your cards, your identification, we can help you get started back to where that goes. We had 4 weeks later, I remember we still had people downtown in LA in hotels because we hadn't been able to find anything. And we try to find something that they can afford.
Right.
And the counselors who do that are just, they're miracle workers.
Yeah, I've seen them with you, Mac, on those. But hey, so great thing to show us that how the Red Cross is going to accommodate all these needs for folks, getting this done, right? Helping people in the Eaton fires and so many more fires.
Exactly, all the line. And everybody, nobody's turned away.
Yeah.
We take in everybody, no matter what your socioeconomic status is. We had people who lived on the street in the shelter, and we took care of them just like we would anyone else. And many of them said when they were back on their feet and felt good, they wanted to go back out on the street. I don't understand it, but then again, I gave up camping when I was a Boy Scout.
Anyways, hey, this is Paul and Big Mac here with the Red Cross for 36 years, just coming back with you and keeping you guys safe, letting you know what's out there and how things can benefit you if you ever get caught in this situation. All right, we'll talk to you later.